daughter is one of our interpreters. You'll see her in church interpreting a lot. So fun stuff. She's learning to interpret. She's getting better. It's good. So all right. Man, small group. They must be eating over there still, losing track of time. So that's fine though. We're going to go ahead and get started. So y'all ready? Dear Lord, Father, thank you for this class. Help us to study and use and learn this language for your honor. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I'm still a busy week for me, so it's you don't know I'm a teacher, so I'm starting back this week, and so I still don't even have my school. I got home, I had like an hour at home, and then I was here, so that's okay though. It's okay. I'm happy to be here. So we're gonna go ahead and just jump right in though. Have you all been studying?
Yeah. On my vacation.
You did?
I did.
Making you all look bad. We'll get you all there. Don't worry, I'm used to working with a lot of students who never study. It's okay.
Yeah.
So let's review some vocabulary. How would you sign yes? How about no? How about good? Good. Good. How about bad? Bad. How about ugly? The good, the bad, the ugly. It is ugly. Ugly. You all don't need to know that, but it's just kind of funny. It is an important thing to emphasize though, because this is ugly, this is dry, and this is summer. Yep, it curves in. So all of them are exactly the same, except in their location. And actually, this is a good time for me to introduce this concept to you. We call these the parameters of ASL. So there are 5 things that make up any sign. Handshake, location, I can't spell anything if I don't spell it on my hands. Like I can't. Alright, so I'll explain that NMM in a second. So, alright, we have handshake. That's the shape that your hand is making. That is the difference between dad and rooster. So, you want to make sure you get that right. Hey, come on in. Location, that's where the sign is. Dry, ugly, summer. So, movement, that's how it's moving. So, what is the sign doing? So this one it's curved in. That's the difference between summer and black. So that it's not curving in anymore. Palm orientation, that's which way your palms are facing. So it's the difference between table and baby. So, table, baby. Very similar, except for which way your palms are facing. Difference between mine and yours. And then facial expressions and NMM, that stands for non-manual markers. Almost all of that is facial expressions. But there are some things that aren't really facial expressions, but are still included in that. So like, for example, if I'm shaking my head no, that's not really a facial expression, my whole head's moving. So technically it's not, but it's still lumped into this whole thing here. And so that's a good example because that can totally flip the meaning of those signs. So I can say, run, don't touch. Not bad. So important to know. So these are the 5 parameters. There's no test. You don't have to know these. But any sign, it's made of these 5 parts. And you can take any sign and break it down. Not all of them apply. Some of them like have no movement, like dad doesn't move. Some of them have no facial expressions. Some of them, the facial expressions are important. It just depends. But just a little thing to introduce to you. That part's free. So, All right, so good, bad. That was, wow. That's how we got off of that rabbit trail. So, how? How? I tend to cite how, but I'm also known to cite how, and sometimes even how, although I'm kind of picky, so, you know. Usually just stick with how. Fine, we'll start skipping around for some of these later ones now. Y'all should be pros on these. So, fine. Deaf. Which. Hearing. Because hearing people are always running their mouths. Son. Now I'm really skipping around. Son. Mom. Please. You just do one hand. Please. If you do two hands, it looks like enjoy. Enjoy, please. Thank you. That's an important one to know. Yeah. I'll accept the award. What? Old. Old. Who? Who? Where? 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 Here. Here. Don't want to be confused with what? Here. They are different in which one? Movement. Very good. So, school. Church. Friend. Because they hang out. Not to be confused with possum.
I couldn't get that from the YouTube.
Awesome.
I wasn't sure what you would do.
Oh,
That's
friend,
why I
yeah.
emailed you. Yeah.
Friend. Home. Home. Alright, and this was last week, so we'll go through all these slow. Hand can be closed or open, doesn't matter. Again. Excuse me. Mean, as in, what does that mean? Yep. Mean. Have. Want. Now it's not in your book, but what is don't want? Don't want. You push it away from you. Don't want. Don't want. Like. Like. Right? What about don't like? Flick it away from you. And usually with that one, you want to be shaking your head no. You don't want to be like, otherwise that's like saying, I don't like it. It just doesn't, it's just sensual. No. No. Yeah, no. Oh, yeah, not that no. With a K. You know. Don't know. Need. Annoy. Annoy. It's like, yeah, so that it's like bother. So same idea. So they're really good. You can switch them in your phone with whatever. Bother or annoy. Same idea. So let's do some sentences. Excuse me, please. Excuse me, please. Do you have a job? You have what? I got it. You have.
That we work?
You could, yeah. We learned work. You have a job. Work. What's a job? Work, right? There is another sign for job. It's job. Job. So that is, the finger spelling has become the sign. Job, because you see I'm making a J, and flipping it around into a B. Job. It's like, remember we learned what? What? Same idea. The finger spelling has become a sign on its own. So what? Job. Another example is pizza. That's one sign for pizza. There's a lot of signs for pizza. You might have seen this one too. Yeah, that's the sign I tend to use. That one's really popular in Florida, but I don't see it from people outside of Florida a lot. You'll see pizza. But a lot of people in other places, sorry, pizza, pizza, there's a lot of signs for pizza. But it's usually something like this, like the double Z's, because it started off P-I-Z-Z-A, and then people just, we got pizza. They're shortening it, and here we are. So that's another example. There's a lot of examples of signs like that, where it's finger spelling, kind of. So job is one of them. But you didn't need to know that. What do you mean? Yes. Some of you all forgot where the WH question words go. Sentence. You mean. What?
So the U comes first.
Yep. You could do that, actually, I'm going to really confuse you all here in a second. You'll already be confused. It makes sense both ways, honestly. You could say, you mean what? Or mean you what? And both of those make sense in ASL. ASL, compared to English, has a much, or compared to English, has a, I'm signing faster than I'm thinking. ASL has a much looser sentence structure compared to English. It's not the most, it's not the loosest sentence structure. There are some languages. When I was in college, I was required to take Greek, ancient Greek, because it was Bible college, and that's what the New Testament was written in. And that language is really interesting, because pretty much the words, you can put them wherever you want in the sentence, it doesn't matter. Because it's all about the endings. As long as the ending is right, and the ending lets you know which is the subject, which is the verb, it's all about the endings. And so you can put the subject first, you can put it last, and you can just mix up the whole sentence and it still makes sense with like very little rules connected with it. It's really, it's kind of interesting, but very interesting. I love that kind of stuff. But ASL is kind of a looser sentence structure. You can show your subject a lot of times with your facial expressions. Sometimes just a little bit raising your eyebrows will show that that's the subject. So there's a lot of little things like that you can do in ASL. But honestly, the best thing you can do to learn sentence structure in ASL is just get around deaf people, watch how they sign, and as you watch, without you even knowing it, your brain kind of picks it up here and there. And then before you know it, you're just kind of like, that feels right. Probably is, because you've seen deaf people do it, and your brain's just kind of made those connections without you noticing. Because really, and this is interesting too. I took a class recently on first and second language acquisition, which is like language learning. And for the longest time, I thought that there was something special about kids that helped them, when they're young, to learn languages fast. Because I feel like I could never learn like Chinese, but kid growing up in China, they got no problem. So, I always thought maybe there's something special about kids, but really there's not. Like, in their brains, it's really the same. Like, adults can do the same thing. The thing with kids is they're just always around whatever language they're learning. So from, like, birth until, like, my daughter now is almost 3, and she's, putting real sentences together now. And even still, they're not really correct. It'll be like, what was it? There was something in her shoe, and she said, "Get out, foot." So she told her foot to get out. So they're still not right sentences, but she's putting them together now. And I mean, if you think though, that's like 3-4 years of just being bombarded with language, and you add into that, kids don't care if they mess up. Us as we get older, we don't want to look stupid, right? You all know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
When I started teaching ESOL, English to speakers of other languages, to South Korean students at Embry-Riddle University. I don't know any South Korean language at all. So my job was to teach them how I speak it, just like we teach children. However you speak it, that's what they learn.
It's interesting you say that because I just today went to a training at DeLand High School, and that was a big part of what we were talking about was using the target language in your classroom, just exposing the students to the language. So, and that's the reason when I'm up here, I'm signing at the same time. I don't get an opportunity to be with you all every day, so I still talk some, you know, but like my high school students this year, they're getting a lot more of just that. So, but it's what you do, and adults can learn it that way too. We just get all concerned about looking stupid, and the truth is you will. I mean, we all had just a really good laugh at my daughter's expense there about, foot get out, like, you know, it's pretty funny. I mean, it does kind of sound funny, but, you know, that's part of learning a language is you get over that. You accept you're going to look stupid, you're going to sign some things wrong, probably going to sign things that are inappropriate, and you just kind of deal with that and let the mistakes happen and just laugh at yourself. But you know, it's fun. I could go. I got lots of stories like that. I could go on and on, but I'll spare you all. So how about he annoys me? So he annoys me. So, and now when you do want the he to be first, because it could go either way and it would change the meaning on that one. So you would do what he annoys me. You wouldn't do me annoy him. You wouldn't do it like that. It just, that one doesn't work. Hello, my name is. Good, I like the finger spelling I'm seeing. Now, I want you to finger spell another person's name. I don't care who, just not your name. Oh, it's not as quick when it's not your name. We're practicing another name. I'll get this one down, so I'll be ready next week. When he asks me again, I'll be ready. So, yeah, it's not as easy when you're all expecting it. Okay, good to know. I'll have to give you all some curveballs every now and then. So, but that was good though. Remember to keep practicing your finger spelling. What about this? What if I finger spelled this? You ready? What's the word?
Car.
Yeah, it is.
I thought he did.
I see it. I still see it.
It's a cat.
Yeah, it is. I was just giving other people a chance to answer. I saw you all got it right though. I saw you. I even got the sign thrown at me over here, so respect that. Cat, that's the sign cat. You can also sign cat or cat.
The cat bites you.
I've seen it all those ways. Have I talked about that sign before? It's kind of a funny story connected with that. I got in a discussion one time. If you ever want to come to Deaf Church and get everybody off topic, bring up variations in signs. So bring up, wait, I thought of the sign. Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of, this one here. So, is any of you all who have experienced some signs before, you know the sign?
I've seen it, but
What was that, Shannon? Oh, Shannon knows the story. What do you sign? Trash. Me too. I sign trash. Apparently, everywhere else they sign lettuce. We don't have like a yeah, like salad. Yes.
Same.
So, yeah, I know. Just to make life easier for us. Everywhere else sign lettuce. But for some reason, here in Florida, I learned trash.
I think that's the joke.
you sign it and then do it, sign the word.
No, I just do that for you all. I just go trash. Yeah. So, and people are thinking I'm telling them to throw the lettuce. So, I know, it took a few times getting lettuce thrown at me, then I understood. No, I'm just kidding. So, but there's just variations. different signs in different places, and that'll get that church way off track really fast. It happens. It happens often. Where was I going with this? Cats, yes. So I was discussing that with someone, and I realized that some people I was signing at the time. I was signing cat, and I still do. I sign cats with a 9. And so I was talking to someone, and I realized there's a lot of different signs. And so I went home, and I asked my wife. I said, Michelle, how do you sign cat? And she goes, cat with an 8. I'm like, well, that's weird. And now I'm curious. I'm like, I wonder which way Oliver signs it. So I go, hey, Ollie, how do you sign cat? And he goes, cat with a G. And I'm like, my own family can't decide. So,
I've seen a cat before.
cat. I've seen that one more for tiger. Tiger. But with these here,
Yeah.
these, interesting. Cat. There's another one for you. Cat. I see that if you do all your fingers, it's tiger. So, interesting. Yeah, so, but even in my own house, though, my own family can't sign it like me. Can't they just accept I know what's right?
For the new baby.
All right, let's jump into some more vocabulary, some new vocabulary. This first one is a real toughie. So, okay. Oh, we'll do more of those practice finger spellings at the end. That's what they are. Cat got me way off track. We'll do more of that at the end of class. Okay. Okay. It's very basic, but it's still a good sign to know. You will see some people go, okay, like you know. But that's also like perfect. This is a sign for perfect or perfect. So you see it sometimes also. So I sign that a lot. I'll be like, I'll be like, oh, do. Then went up, so perfect. Okay. Most people just go, okay. Okay. Sometimes you'll see me joke around. I'll be like, and I go, ooh, okay. But okay. Okay, yeah, sure. Actually, that sign is in today's lesson too. Sure. Except it's in there. It's true, but it's the same sign. So right, and not the direction. Right. Nope, you're gonna hit them like this. Yeah. So it is like brother and sister. Yes. It is like brother and sister. Really, that's kind of, I don't know the term for it, but it's kind of like an accident in the language, because brother and sister used to be boys same, girls same, because it was the same family. So it used to be, so it was like this, and it just morphed to this over time, which just happens to be the same as right. I don't think there was a connection there. My totally uneducated theory right there. So, but correct, right. Now I made sure I put correct in there because obviously if you're telling someone to go right, you would use this sign, right. Make an R, just slide it to the right. You're going to go out here, you go right, right. So, and if you're curious, left. Left. It's that simple. Right, left. Right, left. Right, left. So it's that simple. Right and left. Wrong. Wrong, you can also twist it. You twist it? Yeah, I've seen it both ways. Wrong or wrong. It's also mistake, accident. Most of the time, you can also sign accident if it's cars. But wrong or wrong. You gotta put what at the end of the sentence.
Still.
But if you're asking someone what's wrong, you would just go with the facial, use the facial expression. So, I use that one a lot at home, I hear the kids in the other room, come in there, what's wrong? More of it's like, what's going on in here? So that's more like it. And then I get the whole, Oakley has a toy, but I wanted the toy, but she has it, she won't give it to me. And then, I'm like, did she have the toy first? He's like, yes, but I want it. Or oh, it's Oakley and they're my toy, my toy. Yes. True. We just kind of touched on this one. True. True is also sure. So okay, sure. So sure, true. You can do it multiple times. Sometimes the deaf will go. But it's like, you know, real. You know, I use that sometimes too. Like you're right, you're right, you're right. So, but true, sure, sure. There's a deaf idiom. True business means it's like serious, like it's, you know, true business is real. The deaf will sign that sometimes. But true, sure, true, true. All right. Understand. So put your hand here. It's just like a light bulb. Ding, ding, ding. Now there is a joke sign out there. Understand. Stand.
Oh.
Understand.
That's funny.
Yeah, so it's a joke sign. It's a joke. It's a joke. But stand. Like stand. It's under it.
Understand?
Understand? I even had one deaf friend who would go. Under, yeah. So that's a joke sign you might see. Some of the deaf they like to go. You know, it's just a joke sign. It's just one of those. To the deaf, it's as old as like, you know, someone goes, "What's up?" and you go, "Oh, the roof." You know, among the deaf, it's like that. It's kind of like, okay, yeah. You know, first time I heard that, I thought it was so funny. I kicked my crib. You know, it's like that. It's an old joke, but they love to tell it to hearing people because hearing people have never heard it or seen it. So they definitely love to share that one. So I get to share it with you all. Understand, but the sign itself is understand. Hmm? They'll still tell it to you anyways.
They don't want the experience.
You'll still laugh because it'll take you a second, and then you'll realize, oh, that was the joke I saw in class that time way back then. And then it'll hit you and you'll laugh anyways, so it's okay. So, understand. This is the sign, understand. Understand me? Understand. Understand. Just like a little light bulb. Ding. Understand. All ready? Finish. You could do it multiple times. You know, you say to your kids, you clean your room? Finished, finished, finished. I did it. So, my kids are fighting. Finish. And actually the deaf a lot of times, they'll just go, so like, it's like cut it out. Some of that one is like, that one's a lot of fun to do, especially with kids. You get to aim it at them and be like, so I like that one a lot. It's really handy, especially in public when they give them that parent that stare. So, but that's a variation on that. Finish already.
I'm done.
Finish. And sometimes in ASL it's even used as like a transition word. So if you're telling a sequence of events, you can say when that was done, and how that would look would be like. So the sentence would be like, when I went to the store, or after I went to the store, I saw Joe. It would be like, finish. Saw Joe. So you can put it in there as like a transition word also. So it's a ooh, no, I'm gonna hate. It's a handy sign. It's handy. Oh. It's sign language. Okay. Anyway. No. That's I accept. That's a bad joke. I won't ever tell it again. Although, do you all know what kind of shoes frogs wear?
No.
Open-toed. Okay, so I got one more. I just learned this one. So these two windmills are sitting there talking to each other, and one says, "So what kind of music do you like?" And he says, "Well, I'm a big metal fan." Okay, I'm done. I just had more pop into my head. I'll spare you. Not yet or late. This.
Wait.
What?
And actually, if you're doing late, you're supposed to do this also.
Read them. If you read
With the
them,
tongue.
Like a broke robot?
That means late. It's also used for haven't. So the idea in sign language is if you haven't done something, you just have not done it yet. So they'll say, you know, I haven't gone skydiving. You know, I haven't, which I never. Plane's fine with me. I'll stay in that. But haven't, late. You know, teach high school. Late, right? Late, haven't, not yet. And actually, I think this is our last question word, because we've had who, what, we're doing that now, where, oh, we haven't done why. Is that next week? No, that's a later. Okay. I have why in here, right?
I see when.
it's so easy.
Okay, maybe I did put why in there. I'm confused. I will teach you why if it's not in there. No, wow. How did I do that? I'll teach you why here in a second. Yeah, it's really easy. It's an easy sign. So, when.
Oh yeah.
When. Now I need to update these lessons. I blame you all for the time. When. When. So you're going to draw a circle around your hand. Think.
No, really big.
It does kind of matter. Hang on. I'm just drawing this picture to help.
You have to go here and go.
Kind of does matter. So you want to go towards your dominant hand. So if you're a righty, you're going to go to the right. If you're a lefty, you're going to go to the left. So, yeah, whichever hand you sign with.
I signed with both.
So you need to pick one and stick with it, otherwise it gets confusing when you switch back and forth until you like. There are some people who do it, especially some deaf people who do it, but you have to get good. You need to learn the right way first, and then you can start breaking the rules. So, that's how that works. You got to learn the right way first. It's the same with with English. I mean, you don't get to start making up words till you figure out the language first. So, when think of like a clock. This is the hands on the clock, and you're drawing the clock. When?
Fingers
Is that-
the fingers sideways?
I'm sorry? No, you keep doing it dead on. I was doing that to show you all.
No, is it like this?
Oh, my finger is sideways. Yes, I thought you meant how I was doing it like that. Yep. When? Perfect. Question.
Does it always have to be that way? 'Cause I was always taught when.
On the other way?
No, just going the same
Okay,
way,
yeah.
but just doing it around.
Oh
the
no,
top.
you can do it smaller. Yeah, you
Okay,
can
I
do
was gonna
you
say,
can do it just around the top. Some people do that.
Okay, I've never seen it that way.
I learned it larger. When. But some people just go when. Just do it real quick. When. So you can do it shorter if you want, but that's just how I learned it. When. And this is when it's a question. Did we cover the other when? Don't think we did. This is when it's not a question. So like when I was a young warthog, appropriate now with the new movie out. This is when it's not a question. So like when I was young, like that. This is when it's like we're finished when, like that. So school finished when, like that. When. And look, there you go. There's a sentence with all vocab words. I didn't even realize it. School finished. When. So we have when. When. So why? I'm going to interject this one in there. So we have it. There are a few different ways you can do why, because I've seen 2 different ways now in this group. Anyone want to give me the third? So you have options. The first way is you can start here. This is probably the easiest way to do why. You start with your hand here and you pull it down and make a Y. You can go Y. Y. The other way you can do it is you can put your hand here and make a 25. Y. And you can even do it with just kind of your middle finger like this that you have done. Y. And the other way is a mix and you can do Y. why. I guess you could do it this way. I don't really see it that way, but you could do that too. You do that too, but just you stick with why, or why. You're golden. Nope. Not my wife. Telling me the water broke. So why, or why? So that one's free also. So. Today, yep, today, not 2 days. So 2 days, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. Today. Some people will go today, but teach you on this side. Today. And then tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Now something's stuck in my head. Tomorrow. Yeah, I know, you got the whole 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. So, tomorrow. So, tomorrow, let's do some of these practice sentences. When is church? Aha! Yep. Church when? Church when? Church when? My mom is right. Alright, I'm getting very few people saying my mom is right here. I've seen like just a handful, and I got way more than that.
You don't do
Yeah, you don't do is. No is.
Would you do right?
No, that's like.
No, you can just go, my mom
Oh,
right.
I didn't know if you had to do it backwards.
No, you don't have to down. My mom right. My mom right.
My mom.
And I got some sarcastic people in the back over there reciting my mom wrong, but that's okay. My mom right. Unless you're learning the sign, my mom right. Madison will be home tomorrow.
Is there a sign for Will? Is there a sign for Will?
I'm sorry, I'm keeping my phone on. So let me just.
Just waiting for that message.
I know. I'm sorry. Let me just make sure. All right. So sorry about that. So Madison will be home tomorrow. Now in ASL, I really didn't equip you all to do this sentence, and I'm sorry. Oftentimes in ASL, we put the time marker in the beginning of the sentence. So you say when something is happening first. Because if you've noticed in ASL, anyone, well, I know we have someone up here who's got a lot of experience teaching Spanish. So, but if you all ever took Spanish in high school, I remember the whole, the conjugations, you got the AR verbs, the ER verbs, the IR verbs, and you change that ending, and it tells you if this, I make, you make, he, she, or it makes, or whatever. You change the ending. We don't have any of that in ASL. And so, like with the verbs, that would tell you if it's present tense, past tense, future tense, imperfect tense. It lets you know what tense you're dealing with. We don't have it in ASL. So we don't have any conjugations, which makes my students very happy. So, especially the ones who tried and didn't really succeed in Spanish, they love that. So, but what we do is we put the time it's happening in the beginning of the sentence. So if I'm saying Madison will be home tomorrow, I'll say tomorrow, Madison home. So I put that at the beginning, tomorrow, Madison's home. Maybe say tomorrow, Madison arrives home, but we haven't really learned that one. So, but you would put the tomorrow in the beginning. I'm okay. Remember, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm fine. Hello, my name is. Look at that, you got a little bit there too. So, very good. Let's shift gears a little bit and we'll do some practice, reading some practice finger spelling again. So, you ready? Y'all ready? You looking up here? Okay.
Yes.
Too fast.
Can't see it.
I mean,
I can't see it.
we're here. E.T. Ethan? What? Ethan.
Ethan! You didn't even catch your own name.
He's waiting for others.
Oh, you're waiting for others. Yeah, that's your story. It was Ethan. E-T-H-A-N. Ethan. It was a name. Yeah, I can see. Sometimes someone finger spells T and it's a name, you don't even know where it's coming from. So, I mean, especially some names, they're like, well, hey, I'm the guy who's, I named a kid Oakley. So if you want to know what I named my daughter, it's even more out there. But I'm not going to say it because this is going online and we're not putting it on Facebook yet. But if you want to know, I'll tell you after class. So, because I almost just said it, but then I'm like, the camera. So, I gotta be careful what I say. Stayed forever. We did, what was it, the other day in Deaf Church, and then I'll give you some more words in a second. We started the live stream that we do for Deaf Church, and someone had the filter for the cat ears. And so for the first minute, we have a video of people with cat ears over there. We got Jacob in the cat ears, and one of our deaf, Anthony Williams, got the cat ears and the whiskers. It's hilarious. So that was a good day. So how about another one? Let's do.
Oliver.
No, you're right. Just don't tell anyone.
So
Shield. S-H.
You're right.
School.
Yes, it is school. School.
Because he drags his double.
Yeah, you see, you got that double O in there.
I do that with my name with the S's.
Yep, you see that double O in there? Keep an eye out for those double letters. So, S-C-H-O-O-L. School. Alright, how about? Yeah, see, now I gotta look around and think, see, whenever you need a word for something like this, you can never think of one. Like, it's like I just forgot every word I know. Let's see here. Oh, that was just, I won't do that. All right.
You're doing it too fast.
See the
first letter.
Oh, see, you went fast.
I said America.
Oh, you did? You said
I said
America.
I said it like, I was like,
A-M-E-R-I-C-A.
See, I didn't get the I'm right there.
Yeah, yep, this is the sign. You don't remember the sign? This is America. This is the sign for America. People like to say it's because we're a mixing pot, a melting pot. That sounds really cool and everything, but that's really not the reason. It's because when, in the 1800s, when sign language was really kind of established in America, everybody lived in log cabins. So it's the corners of a log cabin, and it became this over time. But I like the mixing pot idea also, but it's really from the log cabins. So, yeah, so let me, I swear, I can't think of any words. Let me just get some inspiration here. All right, here we go.
Pearl.
Yeah, city. C-I-T-Y. C-I-T-Y. Y'all want to try a fast one?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, I got it. Let's see. Are you ready?
Oh, no, that's not what it is.
That was nothing.
Look, someone even got it right. Haha.
is, I don't know, that can't be not a word. I guess.
Or.
Oh.
How was that a word?
I don't know. He's having so much fun.
I know, I am. I'm doing it in slow motion now. You ready?
Oh, it's dog.
Dog. Dog. Dog. Caught it. A few of you caught it. I told y'all that one would be fast. If you get really good, you can do cat on one hand and dog on the other.
Oh, it took forever.
So it did. A lot of time in front of a mirror. So, we'll do a couple more. Oh, that's a good one. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, happy. A-P-Y. Y'all catch that double silent P? No, some of you are like, yeah, no. Happy. Some of y'all are playing Wheel of Fortune here. You're like, can I buy a vowel? Happy. Let's see here. Alright, I don't know. We'll do one more. Here we go. You ready? It is rules. Rules.
Oh, yeah.
Rules. Alright, we're going to go ahead and pray. Because the other class is going to be wanting to come in, and we'll just go ahead and pray. Y'all ready? Dear Lord, Father,